Welcome to mining.com.au, where I am joined for the first time by the CEO of Highview Resources, Nick Horsley. Thanks for joining us all the way from Canada.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity to present to you guys.
So your company has been covered by our journalists because you're up to a lot. But before we delve in, how about you tell us a bit about the DNA of Highview Resources?
Yeah, so Highview started with a private company called Zeal Exploration. We had this original project put together in 2022. Obviously not the greatest time. It was sort of in COVID, and we were funding it privately, which after all is a bit straining on the wallet. So we ended up doing a transaction with Highview, and I came in as CEO sort of post-transaction, and that area has seen a lot of exploration in the last couple of years, and I think it's now sort of hitting this critical mass with sort of majors starting to move into the area. So that's sort of the DNA is guys who are passionate about mining and fortunately being in the right place at the right time. So
as a Canadian explorer exposed to the classics, gold, copper, a bit of silver, we understand that you're very focused on the Toodoggone District in British Columbia, which is underlined by the fact that you just signed an option to buy multiple new projects in the area. Can you tell us all about this deal, the nuts and the bolts?
Yeah, so we basically are big believers in the region. Huge amount of money has been sort of committed or invested in the last 24 months. I would, napkin math, I would say upwards of probably about 200 million is being sort of committed or invested in the last 24 months. And so we thought this is an opportunity to be sort of the aggressive, smaller company out there and look for opportunities that sort of our larger peer group might not be able to move on as quickly as a smaller, agile company. So last night we announced a 1,900 hectare package, which is basically we've broken into sort of 4 claim groups, and almost every single claim has a historic mineral occurrence on it with various amounts of historic work. I think there was DuPont Canada. I think we had Newmont, Freeport McMoran had done some work on some of it previously. And it's in sort of 3 companies sort of critical areas of some of their projects. So, we thought it was kind of a great strategy, just tying up those sort of loose ends, so to speak. And then this morning we halted our stock as late last night. We signed a second option agreement to acquire over 9,000 hectares contiguous to our southern block. And we picked up a 1992 placer dome IP anomaly that has a coincident mag and some soil geochem that looks pretty interesting. And I've shown it to a couple of people saying I was doing due diligence on it, and everybody was blown away that nobody had drilled this placer dome anomaly in the Toodoggone. So I think we cut a really good deal. All the deals we're cutting are with no work commitments, and basically within 12 months we are at 100% interest. And I think that's nice. Like, we don't currently have any outstanding options other than we've got the small one where we picked up 2 really strategic claims, which we owe about 50, and then with these call it $900,000, and we've just picked up an unbelievable package. So if you count it all, we got 22,000 hectares now. So we're starting to get some size next to our peer group. So we're quite thrilled.
Tell us how these new options gel with your current flagship Golden Stranger project, where you have been successfully exploring recently.
Yeah, the Golden Stranger certainly, it's getting really exciting. We just completed a season of some mag VLF, and they basically identified sort of a copper zone, which is sort of between a 2024 new discovery area called the guys on the ground named it the Golden Acquaintance, which I thought was quite clever. But yeah, it's interesting because it's sort of got this halo, which sometimes you sort of see sort of close in proximity to porphyries. They sampled a porphyritic andesite, which is you sometimes see in the sort of systems of these porphyries. The historic drilling was sort of epithermal, which is once again sort of consistent with sort of volcanic activity and sulfides. So these are all great things that the Golden Stranger really has going for it. I'm, really pushing hard to try and get the IP done. A lot of politics has happened in the camp this year. The Centerra Gold, who had the past producing Comess mine, they had an 80-person camp, and apparently they had let some of the peer group use that camp up until this season, now they're using it and utilizing it and getting aggressive. And so all these camps up there are stretched super thin, and I sort of had a commitment to get the IP done, and I'm really pushing hard to sort of find a place for it to get it done, because I've shown it to some smarter guys than me who are sort of geophysicists, geologists, and they say, if you get some IP now with this mag and sort of this zone, you might really be onto something, which I'm quite thrilled about. And really, we picked up a contiguous massive belt of the same sort of age geology. Yeah, very similar looking indicators. And what we're seeing in this camp is these porphyry sort of intrusions are coming in sort of clusters. The Centerra mine was a massive porphyry, and now they found, I think, about 3 other porphyries in the proximal area. So this new target we picked up, called the Cass, in the larger Borealis property. It's very close to the Comess, where it's a very compelling target. It's got high chargeability, and it's got a kind of a bit of a pop of molybdenum. And I guess in soil chem, when there's a bit of till, you don't get heavy transportation of gold, copper, or silver, but the moly is known to transport more. So all these little indications, I think, are exciting, and we have to do some more geophysics as part of the deal. We're having an air mag flown over it, so just redoing the data. The last exploration was 92, so you're getting better definition. So we'll look to permit it for more geophysics. I think we'll probably run some new fresh IP lines, and then look to work with sort of local stakeholders and look to permit it for sort of a drill program. Hopefully next year would be fantastic. But we just got so much ground to explore now, and we're just thrilled. So
Sounds like there's a lot of news to come. But just to conclude, could you give us a bit of an overview of where you are with funding for your next round of exploration, and roughly when we can expect those things to start happening?
yeah, great question. So we're looking at some ways of kind of funding with also cleaning up the cap table at the same time. So I just got to finish some stuff with some lawyers and see what my options might be there. We've already had groups reach out with an expression of interest for flow through funding. So I think really the key is maintaining sort of this share price or higher. We have a bunch of assays pending from this field season, so hopefully some favorable results will help us continue to progress with the share price and make it more attractive and easily financeable by institutions. In Canada, typically they want to see a $5 million market cap for the flow through funds, but since we're in the Toodoggones, which is probably, I would say, probably the hottest gold copper district right now, certainly in Canada, but I would say probably even North America, with Freeport's committed $150 million joint venture with the big discovery that Bob Dickinson's Amark Resources has at Aurora. Centerra, who owns Comess, I think they did about 25 million into Thesis, which I think has raised about 60 million this year. They're at I think 3.7 million ounces, but they're going to be aggressively drilling right now, and I would imagine by Christmas they'll probably be sort of 5 million ounces. If I had to guess. which I think puts them in an interesting takeout category. Then you got TDG drilling right next door to the Aurora discovery, and they, apparently 2 holes and waiting on sort of results. And so I think there's going to be a big consolidation probably happening in this camp. It seems like that Aurora thing, a lot of guys have been doing napkin math, and it looks like it's a pretty big mine potentially. Obviously, we'll have to wait till we see the resource estimate. But, I think, if you're going to bet on anyone in the business, you bet on Bob Dickinson, because he's basically the Tom Brady of the mining industry. So, I think he's really onto something, and we're just lucky having for once been early, and it's gonna pay off, I think. And I think relative valuation, we're still very cheap to our competitors, and I think now we've got an extremely compelling land package with some good strategic assets that might be of interest to some of our neighbors at some point too.
Well, Nick Horsley from Highview Resources, it has been fascinating to learn more about the Toodoggone region, and we hope that you'll come back and keep us in the loop on all the results to come.
I look forward to that. Great to meet you, and thanks so much for your time.